Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is July 14th, 2026. And it looks like Frenkie de Jong could miss 4 months due to injury. I'm going to tell you how could that affect other players at the club and including the club itself. Also, I'm going to tell you about the player that Atletico Madrid won in exchange for Julian Alvarez. And finally, Barcelona stating that they have an option B in case Julian Alvarez doesn't arrive at the club. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. And my goodness, what a semifinal did we just witness between Spain and France. Spain absolutely demolishing, destroying, annihilating France and making it to the final. Of course, I did do a live discussing that match, reacting to that match, giving my thoughts, my opinions, my analysis of what happened. So if you want to see it, it's on the channel. But anyways, let's begin talking about Barcelona because today was a big day because, ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona have officially began the pre-season training. Of course, during yesterday's podcast, I told you how yesterday was the first official day of the preseason where players reported to the Ciudad Esportiva in order to undergo medical testing. There was no training. It was just medical testing. And today was the first official training day of the preseason, which of course is incredibly exciting because it means that the official season is right around the corner. Not to mention, as I've said many times on the channel, I love the preseason because we get to see so many youngsters from the academy not only train with the first team, but of course also play matches because we do have a busy calendar full of friendly matches, which I've discussed that calendar with detail here on the channel. Now, one player who was surprisingly present at the preseason was no other than Brian Farinas. If you don't know who Brian Farinas is, he's a 20-year-old midfielder, played last season for Barca Atlético under Giuliano Belletti, someone who gained reputation for his composure, his discipline, and control, and how he controlled the rhythm of the games from the midfield, and someone that Barcelona was in advanced negotiations with Girona because Barcelona wanted to send him to Girona, who have been demoted to second division, but nonetheless, second division is better than fourth division, which is where Barca Atlético are currently in. And Barcelona were in advanced talks with Girona, so Brian Farinas can go to Girona and play there so he can continue growing and developing. And it's reported that Barcelona were negotiating a deal around 1.5 to 3 million euros for the player, with Barcelona retaining 50% of the rights of the player with a possible buyback clause because Barcelona wanted to maintain control over the future of the player. But Hansi Flick intervened last minute and said, hold on, pause, don't sell the player yet. Hansi Flick wants to try out Brian Farinas in the preseason first. He wants to judge him for himself. And then if he thinks, okay, yeah, he's not ready, then I'm sure the operation will continue because the deal is not completely off the table. The parameters of the deal are still valid between Barcelona and Girona, but Flick wants to try out Brian Farinas first. Now, one player who did not train with the group is, of course, Fermín López. As you know, Fermín López suffered a fracture in his foot in that Real Betis match towards the end of last season. He ended up missing the World Cup, which is unfortunate because now Spain is in the final. He has been training at the Ciudad Esportiva ever since to try to recover, and today he trained with the group separately. Of course, it's going to be a while until we see him back with the group. Fermín López's goal is to be fully healthy by the first match of the La Liga season, and I hope Fermín comes back better and stronger than ever and that he fully recovers from that injury. Now, more great news because it's reported that tomorrow could be the arrival of no other than Karim Adeyemi, the 24-year-old attacker that Barcelona has just signed from Dortmund for 22 million euros plus 7 fixed. And it's expected that Karim Adeyemi could arrive tomorrow in Barcelona to make this signing official. And it'll be interesting to see whether he joins the preseason training tomorrow or whether it will be the day after. But one thing is for sure, Adeyemi is coming to Barcelona, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, he is. another signing for the club. And while he will be participating in the preseason since he did not participate in the World Cup. So he will be one of the earlier arrivals as opposed to, for example, Anthony Gordon, who still has to play tomorrow's semifinal. And after that, he's still going to have some time off, of course, for a vacation. So Adeyemi expected to arrive tomorrow. If he doesn't arrive tomorrow, it's definitely going to be this week. But I'm very, very excited to see Adeyemi in the preseason, to see how he trains with his new teammates and how he does in those friendly matches during the preseason as well. Now, one player who reported yesterday to medical testing but did not train today was Frenkie de Jong. Frenkie de Jong, of course, did play in the World Cup, was eliminated with the Netherlands, so he will be on vacation, but he did report yesterday to the medical testing. And while during the medical testing, it was revealed that Frenkie de Jong has a serious knee injury. Now, right now, we do not know the extent of that injury or fully know the extent of that injury. Barcelona have scheduled further testings for this week to better understand the extent of the injury. But early reports suggest that Frenkie de Jong could be out to up to 4 months. Some reports even saying 5 months, but they're saying he could be out all the way until mid to end of November, which means he will miss a crucial portion of the season. And of course, we'll know more as Barcelona conduct more medical exams. But this is why Frenkie de Jong has come back from the World Cup with an injury, because it appears that Frenkie de Jong arrived in the World Cup already with a light injury in his knee, and instead of resting, instead of healing, he opted to play. There's talks about him getting injected with painkillers. There's also these images of him constantly having to ice his knee after matches or before matches, having to play with the bandages to help support his knee. In other words, Frenkie de Jong did something he wasn't supposed to do. He was injured and yet decided to force it to play with that injury, which of course made it a lot worse. We don't know the extent of it, but right now they're saying could be out for up to 4 months, which is incredibly irresponsible of Frenkie de Jong. He's already done this in the past. If you guys don't remember, I think it was 1 or 2 FIFA breaks again where he had that ankle injury, and despite not playing with Barcelona because he had the ankle injury, he decided to report to Netherlands training camp, right? Which thankfully Koeman ended up sending him home. But I mean, this is not the first time that Frenkie de Jong acts irresponsibly and decides to play for the Netherlands while injured, when it's Barcelona that pays his salary, which is Barcelona's going to have to pay for all his medical treatment so he can heal from this knee injury. And it's Barcelona's going to have to continue paying his salary while he's out for 4 or 5 months, recovering from this knee injury, which could have been avoided had he rested and healed and done what he was supposed to do as a football player that's supposed to be taking care of his body. Now, not only does this affect the team, of course, because we have a midfielder that won't be available for so many months, but it also affects the club because, of course, one way that Barcelona could be making money this summer was, of course, through the exit of Marc. There's been a lot of speculation, a lot of talk about Casado's future because he's in search of minutes, which he hasn't been getting at Barcelona. He finally decided to await that conversation with Hansi Flick, but now it's reported that Barcelona are considering not selling Casado and keeping him because, of course, if Frankie's going to be out for so many months, we're going to need Casado to step in for him whenever Barcelona need him. And even though I would be happy for Casado to stay being an academy player, of course, this is an income that Barcelona will not be able to rely on thanks to Frenkie de Jong's irresponsible behavior. But not only that, this could also affect the progress of Tommy Marquez. Remember, Tommy Marquez debuted with the first team. He's a 20-year-old midfielder Hansi Flick likes a lot. And it looks like Hansi Flick was eyeing Tommy Marquez as a replacement in case Casado does decide to leave. But now with Frenkie injured, Casado has to stay, so Barcelona won't make money off that sale. And of course, Tommy Marquez will see his minutes reduced because now Casado is staying and Tommy Marquez could have been the replacement for Marc Casado. So definitely a ripple effect, all thanks to Frenkie de Jong's irresponsible behavior, playing with that injury on his knee and now risking missing 4 months. We'll see what the tests reveal. Hopefully, it reveals nothing more serious. or who knows, maybe he reveals that it's even a less serious injury and his timeout ends up being less. But 4 months is definitely a long, long time. Now on to the next bit of news, because you won't believe who Atletico Madrid won in the place, or in exchange, I should say, for Julian Alvarez. As you know, Barcelona have submitted an offer for Julian. They submitted it over a month ago, 90 million plus 10, which have gone unanswered. John Laporta has already come out and said on 2 occasions that that offer is not unlimited, that it has an expiration date, which Barcelona are thinking that expiration date is after the World Cup. Looks like Barcelona are considering a second offer for for Julian Alvarez to Atletico Madrid. That would be around 130 million euros. But of course, Barcelona are also considering a player that they could perhaps include in this operation, which would reduce the asking price for Julian. And while you won't believe who Atletico Madrid want, no other than Marc Bernal. It looks like Cholo Simeone is a big fan of Marc Bernal, and they're saying, you know, if we're going to include a player, it has to be Marc Bernal or Rafinha. So in other words, they're saying, okay, Julian Alvarez is, you know, one of our most important players. So if you're going to give us another player in his place, it has to be, well, one of your important players. So either Bernal or Rafinha, which of course it's a no deal. Barcelona not looking to get rid of Rafinha, and definitely not looking to get rid of Bernal, who they consider a pillar of the club. You know, him, Lamine, and Cubarsí are gonna consider these 3 pillars to come out of this latest generation of exceptional players. Not to mention, Hansi Flick has full trust in Marc Bernal. A lot of people forget, but Marc Bernal was Hansi Flick's starter during Bernal's first season with the first team. You know, when Flick first arrived, it was Bernal and Pedri who started those first few matches. But then, of course, Bernal suffered that ACL tear. Yeah, he was out for a whole year. But even once he was back, once again, he was the starter next to Pedri. So neither Flick nor Barcelona looking to get rid of Bernal. So that's definitely a no-go there. Now, of course, as you know, Barcelona do have a plan B in case Julian Alvarez doesn't arrive. And today, Barcelona submitted to all the reporters that work with the club the news that Barcelona have a world-class striker that they have lined up in case Julian doesn't arrive in the club. Now, Barcelona did not leak to the press who this world-class striker is. They just said they have a world-class striker lined up, which, of course, begs the question, A, is that just BS? Is Barcelona just, you know, saying that? Or B, it's true, but, of course, the question is, who is it? And that question I will ask you guys. Who do you think this world-class striker that Barcelona have lined up in case Julian Alvarez doesn't arrive? Could it be, of course, we talked about Kane, right? But Kane, we know he wants to stay at Bayern, unless he had a change of heart that we don't know about. We know João Pedro. Barcelona already flew to London to meet with his agent, but Chelsea said he's not for sale. We know there's Osimhen, who's also on Barcelona's list, right? We don't know, but I'll leave it up to you guys. You let me know. Who do you think is this mystery world-class striker that Barcelona have lined up in case Julian doesn't arrive? Let me know down below in the comment section. And with that, we will end this video. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, peace, guys.